Actually, we're filming our new video before the end of December for Fake Sound of Progress, and that's brand new news and nobody knows. No, we don't invite any fans because we're bored of them now.
Oh, that is...
like I mean it.
Late in 2001, Lostprophets had gone to Las Vegas to film the video for the Fake Sound of Progress single. In Vegas, they encountered the kind of surreal, dreamlike caricature of consumerist America that is hard to imagine unless you've been there and been drained of every penny you own. The kind of trashy opulence and indulgence that can only come from huge amounts of money being generated on a daily basis with no sense of apology or self-consciousness lies at the heart of the Las Vegas experience. If America is the land of golden opportunities, Vegas is the twisted, sick-hearted proof. Here, anything's possible if you've got the money, and if you haven't, better stay away. Making it big in the United States is the cliched dream of virtually every British teenage boy or girl who has ever picked up a guitar and learnt 3 chords, signed a disastrously exploitative recording deal and dreamt of power, riches and adulation beyond comprehension. Yet, throughout the 1990s and early in the 21st century, very few British bands had managed to establish a presence for themselves in the United States. The notable exception, perhaps, was Bush, who had worked hard, endured much enforced smiling for the cameras, and had avoided the kind of smug arrogance that undermines many bands' attempts to capitalise on their supposed strengths. Oasis had had a go at cracking America, but had proved themselves to be hopelessly amateurish, and possessed of a streak of willful self-destructiveness that was incomprehensible to audiences in America. Here, they expect committed, professional entertainment delivered without shows of small-town prima donna angst. In America, Oasis had been a small fish floundering hopelessly in a very large pond. So much of English post-rock music was, deliberately or otherwise, parochial in scope, and locked in a kind of self-reverential irony that simply did not travel across the Atlantic. Even Radiohead, arguably the most influential British band of the 1990s, seemed to think that their spiritual home was at the newly sanitised, post-millennial Glastonbury Festival, which had become a kind of Glyndebourne for the 21st century college generation. Here, the trappings of affluent Middle England, the casinos and chilled Chardonnay tents had replaced its more traditionally libertarian atmosphere. In England's green, pleasant and socially and economically exclusive hills, Radiohead made their ritual appearance at an annual group therapy session to exorcise the existential angst of post-adolescent middle-class Britain. The UK simply could not compete on even terms with the American mall rat bands. If it was the sound of the suburbs, it was the sound of Illinois, Philadelphia, Seattle or Chicago, not Leicester, Hull, Bradford or Birmingham. Even though their early heroes had been the intercontinental musical weapons of mass destruction like Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, The Who or Def Leppard, the new generation of post-rock wannabes simply couldn't cut it with the same verve, panache and appetite for life-threatening indulgence as these godfathers of rock. So when it came to Lostprophets, it was hard to figure out what made them different, why they were being tipped as the next big British band, and the first for a long time to make it big in the mythical heartlands of America. They seemed unlikely to be the kind of guys who would be smashing hotel rooms or driving their white Rolls Royces into swimming pools. Yet on the other hand, it was clear they would not make the same mistakes as Blur, Pulp or Oasis and ground themselves willfully in the kind of cool Britannia-style irony that was incomprehensible beyond the grimy shores of the Sceptred Isle. Perhaps it was their solidarity as a group of misfits and freaks who had broken out of the ultra-conservative small-town restrictions of life in rural Wales. Maybe it was their lack of pretension and smug self-regard, or their willingness to give 100% to their music, yet at the same time retain a clear sense of who they were and where they had come from. But most likely, it was the fact that their music had that sense of confidence and authenticity that had so impressed American audiences. Audiences who could pick at their leisure from an impressive roster of the best nu metal bands in the world, and who didn't really need a 6-piece band from Pontypridd, unless they were pretty damn good. Yet the fact was that a year previously they had been just another bunch of aspiring rock musicians, out to do for money what they liked doing best in the whole world. And all the while running on optimism and adrenaline, sleeping on friends' floors and spending their food money on new strings for their guitars. Now, here they were, making a lavish video in the bad taste capital of the world, while all those around them tried to talk them into believing that soon they would be the greatest thing since sliced white bread. And maybe, just maybe, they were right.